The United States 3-0 winners over Honduras in freezing St. Paul, Minnesota. Herculez Gomez with us to break it down. Herc, a huge 3 points for the U.S. on the road to the next World Cup. The goals tonight come from Weston McKennie, Walker Zimmerman, Christian Pulisic, all offset pieces. Other than that, what'd you make of the performance?
Solid. When you needed somebody to step up, because you did need somebody to step up. Massive decision not starting Christian Pulisic, so you needed somebody to step up. It's Weston McKennie yet again, proving that he's the U.S. men's national team's best player. He's been their best player ever since he had that breach of protocol, and he was ejected from the U.S. men's national team for that window, the first window. He's been superb. Superb for his club, superb for his country. He's been easily the best player, and every chance he's had to step up, he has.
Yeah, if you look at how the United States played, maybe it wasn't quite the dominant word that Greg Berhalter used after the game against Canada. I thought it was very comfortable, though. And they checked a lot of boxes with the performance, right? They wanted to get better at set pieces. You wanted to have a fast start. You wanted to have Christian Pulisic score. All those things seem to happen. The temperatures in this game are a huge storyline. Maybe it's hard to judge individual performances, so let's not pick on anybody. But did anybody stand out to you from the U.S. side?
Weston obviously stood out. I thought Luca De La Torre was very active. I thought Timothy Weah was very active. At the end, maybe started dancing on the ball a little too much, started feeling himself a little too much. But that's what I love about him. It's his confidence in the final third, that little swag about him, the speed at which he operates. I thought it was very, very good. And then also Walker Zimmerman. Walker Zimmerman, I know it's comfortable. We talk about it being comfortable, and you knew it would be comfortable. Walker Zimmerman, in the brief time he has had with Greg Berhalter, has shown something. I wish he was a little younger. I wish he would have made that jump, but he's got tons of intangibles. He's got the tools, and he's a leader. He's got that thing about him where he motivates other players around him. I thought he was very good. Ricardo Pepi, not because he scored or not because he was so dangerous, because you could see how desperate he is for that goal, how hungry he is. And I noticed that. I noticed his work rate. I noticed his mannerisms. I noticed his runs and him trying to find the ball and how desperately he wants that goal. That hunger, I love. It's going to come. I'm worried that he's not getting those chances, but it's going to come.
One name I don't think you mentioned or didn't mention enough of for me, Kellen Acosta, a player who has been much picked on by some sectors of the U.S. fan base,
very true.
especially tonight on the set pieces, which was a huge part of this victory for the United States men's national team. What about that big lineup decision, Herc, and the choice to keep Christian Pulisic out? I know you were calling for it this week on Futbol Americas, so I bet you feel vindicated.
A little. Let me start off with the decision not to start him. He hasn't necessarily been good for the U.S. men's national team in World Cup qualifying. He's had a massive goal versus Mexico coming on as a substitute. Big moment, but you look at everything else, he's been very frustrated, very quiet before or apart from that goal, I should say. It was 0 goals, 0 assists in World Cup qualifying. A lot of frustrating moments for him. He was getting kicked a lot. He was getting put on the ground a lot. They were targeting him a lot. I thought this would light a fire under him. I thought this would stoke that fire. This would get him maybe angry, maybe coming to a realization that he needs to do more. But when you're comfortably up 2-0 with 25 minutes to go, I wouldn't have thrown him in. And I actually tweeted that. And within 30 seconds, the kid scores a goal. That said, I still wouldn't have thrown him in. With his injury history and the weather, the elements, it's just so easy to pull a muscle, so easy to lunge, so easy to not be warm and to injure yourself. I wouldn't have taken that risk already being up. But that said, when you saw the goal go in, it looked like a weight had been lifted from his shoulders, and he looked like he was looking for 2, for 3. It looked like he was finally starting to enjoy himself on the field, which is something we've not seen a lot of with Christian Pulisic for Chelsea and for the U.S. men's national team.
I was surprised not to see him in the starting lineup. I was especially surprised not to see him and not see like Brendan Aronson in there and see Jordan Morris in the starting 11. If I had to pick kind of one super surprise out of Greg Berhalter starting 11, for me, it was Jordan Morris. Let's touch on the weather because, boy, we weren't there, obviously, but it looked cold on TV. You could really see it in the players' faces on both sides. Maybe just a final thought from you on the impact it ended up having on today's game or didn't end up having, and then the decision to play there overall.
I don't know if it had a huge impact. You can say, well, the travel, it's less travel for us, more travel for them. Honduras had like a 10-hour travel day, and you could say that. But this is a clearly just defeated Honduras squad. You could have played in the warmest of conditions in Florida. They would have still been mentally out of it. They wanted no part of this. Their coach before the game said they just wanted to get it over with. Already eliminated from World Cup qualifying. It just seems super unnecessary for the players, both set of players, Honduras and the U.S. men's national team. It seems super unnecessary for the fans to be there in those type of conditions. I mean, you couldn't be left alone, skin exposed, and not risk frostbite. That was actually, that's not what I'm saying. That's actually the Twin Cities, weather warning that they communicated before the game. It just seems super unnecessary. This U.S. men's national team, the greatest, most talented national team on paper that we have seen, that's what they're touting it as. You shouldn't need to resort to, well, let's use the weather to our favor. Let's try to get an upper hand by doing this. Let's try to get an upper hand by going to a pro-U.S. men's national team crowd where we know they won't be opposing fans. I think you want to make it as easy as possible for them to play the type of football they can play. Sometimes that's leveling the playing field for the opposition, but Honduras wanted no part of this. The weather, luckily, it wasn't too bad of a factor negatively for either, but it just seems super unnecessary, Seb.
Yeah, safe to say unnecessary, and also in this case, unsafe. Either way, Herc, a huge 3 points for the United States, especially with the window that's coming up. You got away to Mexico, you got home to Panama, and you got away to Costa Rica. So it's not going to be an easy run-in for Greg Berhalter and company. Really needed these 3 points. He's Herculez Gomez. I'm Sebi Salazar. We'll see you on the next edition of Futbol Americas.
Thank you very much for watching ESPNFC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.